Coming up in news tonight, another island-wide blackout leaves thousands without power. The Prime Minister weighs in on Dame Anita Allen's same-sex marriage comments. Plus,
a man charged with that Scotiabank murder and a list of other offenses. That story straight ahead.
Welcome to Our News. I'm Dana Smith. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, thousands of residences and businesses on New Providence were once again left without lights after yet another island-wide blackout. It's the second major power outage in 3 days, and many residents say they've had it.
Disgusted, really fed up.
Lights went out just after 11 a.m., and according to Bahamas Power and Light, officials are still trying to determine exactly what happened. The company would only say it continues to experience challenges with its system. Around 1:45 this afternoon, BPL said it had restored power to 50% of its customers and was committed to full restoration by 3:30 p.m. Regardless, many residents were left to sit in the midday heat, while some businesses without generators were unable to serve customers. Frustrated BPL customer Kim Thurston questioned what's being done to address the problem.
I think people are hurting. They hurt more because they have to lose so much. People lose appliances, people lose perishable goods. And you know what? Where do you turn? How do you get help? Who's helping these people?
Entrepreneur Anthony Smith said the continued outages hinder his business greatly.
Clearly fed up, especially as an entrepreneur. I mean, it affects business in every sense of the word because when you have to do your banking, when you have to do your other personal business interests and matters, everything is done electronically, practically everything. So what happens is that this is a major inconvenience.
Smith added the outages also proved to be a further inconvenience at home.
This has really taken a toll. For me personally, even at home, I mean, who's going to pay for all of my meats and all that stuff that gets spoiled 24 hours after? I mean, and there's just no accountability in this town.
Another BPL customer, Paul McKinney, echoed those sentiments.
Especially this time of the year, you know, you need your power on, because when the electricity goes off, your air condition, your fan, all that gone.
Meantime, this angry customer told Our News blackouts in her area are far too common.
Up in Seabreeze, every day or every night, sometimes twice a night.
BPL customers also expressed outrage over yet another blackout on Facebook. Sonia Alvino remarked, "You guys are seriously hindering the development of the nation. Why can't you get it right?" Jason Moss Williams remarked, "It's summertime. Children are out of school. It's too hot for this. Get it together." Lisa Clark only offered, "Ridiculous," while Sarah Hugg asked, "Why can't we get off our collective duff and go protest this nonsense? It's killing our economy, let alone our appliances. When are we going to say enough?" However, not everyone had harsh words for the nation's power company. Ash Anderson said, "To be fair to BPL, while the service we experience is still pretty terrible, they're a lot better at communicating with us than BEC was. At least there's an acknowledgement of the problem." Power Secure was contracted by the government to take over management at the government-owned power station earlier this year. The government has said the deal would assist in addressing power generation and reliability issues. In other news tonight, just days after a man was killed while using the ATM machine, his alleged killer had his day in court. But that same man also had to answer to an additional 24 charges, including another murder and rape. Kyle Joaquin reports.
It's been less than a week since Ivan Clare was shot and killed at that Scotiabank ATM. And while his family still tries to come to grips with his untimely death, the man who police believe was behind that murder was brought to court. Clad in blue jeans and a white t-shirt, 28-year-old Richard Bevins of Bernard Road appeared emotionless before Chief Magistrate Andrew Forbes in court today as the exhaustive list of 25 charges were read. Bevins is accused of the shooting death of 61-year-old Ivan Clare, who was killed at a Scotiabank ATM on Jerome Avenue on Sunday. Bevins was also charged with robbing Clare of his Scotiabank ATM card. But the charges didn't end there. The 28-year-old racked up another murder charge for the shooting death of ZNS radio personality Scott Richards last month at Bonefish Pond. He is also accused of robbing Richards of an iPhone 3. Then there were the other 13 counts of armed robbery, crimes authorities believe occurred between February and June of this year. The stolen items include cell phones, mostly Samsung Galaxies, cars, debit cards, and cash from as little as $20 to $1,500. According to court dockets, on the same day of Ivan Clare's murder last Sunday, Bevins allegedly abducted a woman, attempted to rape her, and robbed a woman of a Kipling bag and blue cell phone. He was also charged with the April rape of a 24-year-old woman. Then there are the charges stemming from the alleged abduction and robbery of Angelo Black, who was accosted on May 17th while eating lunch on the beach. He was shot during that incident, and Bevins is believed to have been behind that as well. The Bernard Road resident was also charged with receiving. Due to the nature of the offenses, Bevins was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. When asked if there was anything he wished to say, Bevins took a few seconds and asked the judge if he could see his cousin, who was out in the hallway. The judge agreed. Bevins returns to court on June 27th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. For our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Also in court today, 53-year-old Calvin Jolly of Fox Hill. He is accused of the June 12th double murders of Chavez Hepburn and Samuel Roll. He was also remanded and will be back in court on July 22nd. Well, after a controversial comment made by Court of Appeal President Dame Anita Allen earlier this week that all Bahamians should be equal under law, including same-sex couples who want to marry, Prime Minister Perry Christie said today that issue is simply a matter of law for him. Christie also expressed disappointment over the referendum debate. Simone Davis reports.
When asked his thoughts on Dame Anita's recent comments on gender equality, Prime Minister Perry Christie said he is more disappointed with the way the debate over the referendum distracted the Bahamian people from what's important.
That's a matter of law for me. I watched with interest. I was very, very disappointed in those persons who allowed the debate to allow people to infer that the government had a hidden agenda.
Dame Anita's comments came during a presentation about law in a changing society and reconstructing marriage. Many took issue with her comments on the door being open to same-sex marriage. Christie said he made it very clear before the June 7th referendum that the government had no hidden agenda and asserted that people should have believed him then.
There's no hidden agenda, all right? It is so wrong, it was so unjustified, that for them to use that, because the very people who were allowing that allegation were in the room with me, with other church leaders when I spoke.
The Prime Minister said, speaking from a personal point of view on the matter,
my life should speak for itself.
Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
The Progressive Liberal Party ratified 3 of its candidates on Thursday night, and despite heavy rainfall, that did not hinder the crowd. Giorgio Stirrup reports.
Despite rain and bad weather, Progressive Liberal Party supporters were out in full numbers. And according to Fred Mitchell of Fox Hill, Cleola Hamilton of South Beach, and Ken Dorset of Southern Shores, this is evidence that they have the support of their people.
As his party ratified 3 new candidates, Prime Minister Perry Christie encouraged PLP supporters to keep the faith. He said the governing party encountered challenges in its efforts to implement a job creation program because it had to fix the problems he claims the last Ingram administration left behind.
When they say we have waited this long to start a jobs program, yes, we waited this long because we're trying to fix the problem they left in the country.
That's right, that's right.
And we are going, starting virtually immediately, to begin the jobs program, but it will be accompanied by training and with training.
Chaos. Chaos.
See, that demonstrates the extraordinary division that exists on that side.
Chaos.
Before accepting the PLP's nomination to run again in South Beach, MP for the area Cleola Hamilton slammed FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis and listed the PLP's accomplishments over the past 4 years.
They are in such disarray that they're not sure who their leader is, for one.
That's right.
Bamsey, check.
That's right. That's right.
College of the Bahamas, check.
Meantime, Southern Shore's MP Ken Dorsett said while he knows that some Bahamians are still hurting, the PLP needs another 5 years to continue its work.
Some of you are in this room tonight, you're still hurting, and you need help. We know that there is more work to do.
Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell, who was also ratified last night, said he will continue to fight for the people of Fox Hill, and he is pleased to have been selected as the PLP candidate for the area for the 4th time.
I'll continue the fight for the dispossessed, all those who are not working. We continue to fight to create jobs. That is the preoccupation of the government. People keep arguing that the government is acting like we're living in a bubble. We're not living in a bubble. We know exactly the pain people feel every day.
The PLP recently ratified Jerome Fitzgerald, Melanie Griffin, and Alfred Sayers. Reporting for our news, I'm Georgia Sturrow.